meeting of the Granite City School Board to order on June 22nd, 2021. Roll call, please, Zach.
Stacy.
Here.
Vinny.
Here.
Knogle.
Here.
Curran.
Here.
None here. McMasters.
Here.
Wilmsmeyer.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you very much, Zach. Appreciate it. We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and afterwards an invocation by Pastor Stacy Wilson of GC First Assembly of God. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
God, I thank you so much for the opportunity to be here this evening, and I thank you for the men and women who lead and serve our school district. God, I pray that tonight you would give them wisdom to lead well and to make decisions that are in the best interest of our district and for all who are a part of it. We just ask that you would keep your hand and continue to bless us. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Wilson. Appreciate it. Okay, first item on the agenda is public comment. Tom, am I supposed to read this whole thing?
Just instead of reading this, the board has a policy that if there is someone here to discuss public comment, the law allows the taxing district, the school district in this case, to limit public comment to 30 minutes total because there is other school district business, 20 minutes for any particular subject. But with that being said, if there is any public comment, I think that's what we're at that part of that agenda to entertain that now.
Do we have any public comment here tonight? Anybody want to say anything? None? Okay, we'll move on. Good, and nobody sent an email?
No, I didn't get any, we put it on the webpage on the front and on there to try to have public comment and people here, but no one responded.
Very good. Thank you very much. Next item I have on the agenda, the Board of Education would like to recognize Chase Bouchard. Would you like to take over?
I would love to take over. Come on up, guys, I'll bring you up here. You can all come, I think that. Right, do they play as much in this, right? Dragging you to things and making sure uniforms were clean and making sure homework was done, you know, right? I will say that I've seen Chase, since we were fortunate enough this year to actually have some senior events and recognition and honors things, there wasn't one where Chase wasn't there. I want to say that first, so, and his parents have been there and supported him too. And I just want to say that he was named to the 55th Annual St. Louis Post-Dispatch Scholar Athlete Team in May. Chase was a 3-sport student athlete: soccer, football, tennis. Did I get them all?
Yeah.
Okay. And is the son of John and Tara. Okay, Bouchard. He's a member also of the National Honor Society, Secondary Honors Program, Homecoming Court, and received the 2021 Illinois Principals Association Outstanding Student and School Citizen Award. He earned a Principal's Trophy at graduation, as well as being named Summa Cum Laude. Chase is headed to Webster University in the fall to play both soccer and tennis and maintain your grades and major in pre-med. So, wondering why you're here tonight. I really want to say good luck to you, but I don't think you need luck. Obviously, you've proved that, so I can't wait to see everything else you accomplish. And we present this to you as the Board of Education as all your accomplishments and how proud we are of you.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Great job.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Well
done.
Can't wait to see all the stuff you guys.
Chase, I have just one question for you though.
Yes.
What's your favorite sport with all
Oh.
those
Soccer, yeah.
Yes.
That's definitely it,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, I like tennis. Tennis is mine, so.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming. Thank you, Chase. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I appreciate it.
Congratulations.
All these new sports where you don't sweat it.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, he's pretty amazing.
That's really good for this young man.
Oh, my goodness.
All right, item number 5 on the agenda, approval of the minutes of our regular meeting from June 9th, I'm sorry, 8th, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Vinny.
Aye.
Knogle.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye.
None. I. McMasters.
Aye.
Stacy.
Aye.
Wilmsmeyer.
Aye. Item number 6, the consent agenda. Sure.
Mr. President of the Board, the consent agenda contains items that are repetitive and routine in nature. Any member may make a motion to approve the consent agenda or to request that any of the items be moved to section 7 for individual discussion and consideration. And at this point, we have a bill list that has been attached for your perusal beforehand, and a request from the Greater Madison County Federation of Labor, AFL-CIO, requesting permission to allow various Guernsey school bands and cheerleader groups to participate in the Labor Day Parade. Your recommendation is? So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Knogle.
Aye.
Kern.
Aye.
None. I. McMasters.
Aye.
Stacy.
Aye.
Vinnie.
Aye.
Wilmsmeyer.
Aye. Item number,
That one's kind of strange, so we don't have any.
so resolution to property tax bill, is that the next one?
We have a consideration of items removed, we don't have any, so A is the recommendation, yes.
Yep. All right, next item on the agenda, resolution to use the property tax appeal
Oh,
board.
no.
No, that's not it?
Recommendation of communications and human resources.
Okay.
Eight. Sorry.
That's all right. All right, item number 8, recommendations and communications human resources. We have item 8A, retirement and resignations.
Yep, Mr. President of the Board, it is recommended the following retirements and resignations be accepted. Christine Douglas, math teacher at Madison High School, retirement effective the end of the 24-25 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Kern.
Aye.
None. I. McMasters.
Aye.
Stacy.
Aye.
Vinnie.
Aye.
Knogle.
Aye.
Wilmsmeyer.
Aye. Item 8B, request for leave of absence.
Mr. President of the Board, it is recommended that the following leaves be approved. Emily Perkins, occupational therapy assistant, effective 8/16/21 to 12/22/21.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? Roll call, please.
None. I. McMasters.
Aye.
Stacy.
Aye.
Vinnie.
Aye.
Knogle.
Aye.
Kern.
Aye.
Wilmsmeyer.
Aye. 8C is extracurricular resignation for the 21-22 school year.
Mr. President of the Board, you received detailed information about this item below. Administration is prepared to make recommendations or hold for discussion in executive session. We are recommending that the following extracurricular resignation be accepted. Mr. Charles Down, Woolwich Junior High Electives Department Head.
So moved.
Vote it down.
It was right here, I was gonna suggest it. I thought.
I think I heard a second there. Sam, did you get those?
Yeah. Motion by Stacy, second by Vinnie.
Thank you very much. Any discussion? Other than why, you know?
I already asked that.
Yeah.
I can get into it if you'd like. It's not that interesting, but, department head's gonna meet first hour,
Really a nice thing.
this coming school year, and that's when we need 2 band directors in the room. So rather than hamstring the new assistant, I decided to resign.
It's a very generous thing.
Very nice.
Very nice, very nice. Thank you for now.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
McMasters.
Aye.
Stacy.
Aye.
Vinnie.
Aye.
Knogle.
Aye.
Kern.
Aye.
None. I. Wilmsmeyer.
Aye with regrets.
I know.
Item 8D, extracurricular recommendation for Granite City High School for the 21-22 school year.
Mr. President of the Board, you have received information about this. The administration is recommending the following extracurricular for approval. What does this say? I think it means to accept Warrior Voices. The sponsor has just resigned. This is why it was on here at the last minute. Mr. Parker, do you wanna kind of explain this one a little bit, since we kind of just got this?
That is correct. We had a resignation for Warrior Voices yesterday, so we need to remove that from the list.
That's on here somewhere.
Yes,
Okay, I see.
it's on the third page.
We just read.
So move to-
Approval is recommended.
Move to approve with the exception of Warrior Voices?
Right.
Yes.
Okay,
So
I did that.
Good motion.
Thank you.
So much.
Second.
Motion by Erica, very nice motion, by the way, by Erica, second by Eric. Any discussion?
So really the next one doesn't.
Roll call, please.
Stacy.
Aye.
Vinnie.
Aye.
Knogle,
Aye.
Curran,
Aye.
Nunn, I, McMaster,
Aye.
Wilmsmeyer.
Aye. Item 8E, employment of COVID renewal and innovation coordinator for the 21-22 school year.
Mr. President of the Board, you have received detailed information about this item. The administration is prepared to make recommendations or hold a discussion in executive session. The Tier 1 committee, consisting of Stephanie Quinn, Jim Parker, Mickey Watkins, Kristen Navashis Caverna, and David Keel, recommended the following candidate for Tier 2. Interview with Stephanie Quinn, Mickey Watkins, Chris Mitchell, on the Board of Education, the exception of Ms. Wilsmeyer. One of our people declined an interview because he took a job at another state, but we initially all recommended Mr. Steve Mathis for this position, this grant funding position.
So moved.
Second?
I'll give it to Linda.
Motion and a second, any discussion? And thank you all for sitting in on that interview. I was not able to make it, but I understand it was just very, very good.
Very impressive.
Yep.
Great kid.
Looking forward to having Steve in that position.
Me too.
Roll call, please.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Knogle,
Aye.
Curran,
Aye.
Nunn, I, McMaster,
Aye.
Stacy,
Aye.
Wilmsmeyer.
Aye. And item 8F, certified and classified substitutes.
Mary, I don't know what to say. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, you have received detailed information about this item. The administration is prepared to make recommendations. It is recommended the following applicants be board approved as substitutes for the 2021 and 21-22 school year. Certified Tom Gibbons and Caitlin Hansen.
So moved.
I know.
Second.
Yay, thank you.
Great.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Knogle,
Aye.
Curran,
Aye.
Nunn, I, McMaster,
Aye.
Stacy,
Aye.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Wilmsmeyer.
Aye. Item number 9 is old business policy 350 AP4 regarding residency.
Is it allowed, Tom, I'm just gonna ask, to make a motion to put this off for a period of months? We're not hiring, we have admin principals through next school year. It is not an emergency that we do that. I think I had so many, over 200 emails. And so many of the community really felt it was rushed. In no way was this rushed. The board has talked about it many times. We've talked about it publicly. But I also know we have a new mayor that's intending some new initiatives. It seems like we're almost shooting him in the foot by changing some things when he's also dealing with some things on his end. Is it possible to not make a decision on this and put it off with a motion for 6 or 7 months and come back to it?
Yeah, under Robert's Rules of Order, a motion to table would require that we bring it back at the next meeting in July. We have a motion to indefinitely postpone, well, then that takes precedence, and then that way it can be indefinitely postponed until the board feels it's ready to be brought back on.
Until the board's ready to bring it back up?
Yep.
Can I make that motion then?
Can I?
If I can get a second?
I would like to say something. I do not want this to go on and on and on. I would like to have us have a firm footing on this particular policy, and we have talked about it and thought about it, and we have had community contacting us. We've had other ways that they have tried to talk about it among themselves. I would like to see us not delay this any longer. Now, I'm for setting it back to the next meeting in July. That's fine.
I don't see any
I don't
urgency
see-
though, do you, Linda? We're not hiring, the next school year, we have our principals. We're not hiring new admin till the following.
We are hiring an
Yeah, we
admin
are.
assistant.
That gives us an
We
opportunity.
don't have anyone to take the place of Mr. Mathis. Okay? No one.
To take the place of who?
See, I disagree.
Well, it
We
hasn't
haven't
been posted
posted.
yet.
We
It
have a
hasn't been
list of
posted.
30 people.
She didn't mean that, she meant posted.
We have
Posted,
people, we have a
posted.
list of qualified people,
Yeah.
right? There's a list of people.
Right.
No, we don't know who.
So
I-
I don't know.
So we have a motion and a second, so we can discuss now.
I don't think we have a second, so
I thought you
it's
were
not
second.
going anywhere. It wasn't a
Sarah,
second, but it all-
Eric did second. I can second.
So we can discuss now.
Yes.
I think I'm kind of in the middle. I personally do not feel that this needs to be delayed. In my view, it's been delayed for decades. It's been something that's not rushed. It's been a topic of conversation, but ultimately, people have not voted on it or addressed it. It's been pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. No disrespect to prior boards, but that's what's happened. Now, that being said, I understand people, I mean, I personally don't think it's gonna do any good. It's not gonna make a difference to push it back, but if it makes people feel better about that, that's fine. However, I do not feel comfortable with waiting 6 or 7 months, because that takes us up to January or February, when we should have already hired for the 2022-2023 school year. So I'm not comfortable with that part of it. I think this needs to be addressed, make it happen or not, in the next, I mean, I like the next month or so. I think it can go another month perhaps, but I mean, we should be posting
No later
in the
than
fall.
September, no later than September, really.
The only thing is, the only real argument about lifting this is the argument we can't get qualified people. That's the only real argument that I see that means anything to me. If, on the other hand, we started our search much earlier, not where we're gonna need somebody next month, but much, much earlier. If we expanded the geography of our search, possibly even used a headhunting organization, expand from state to state, if we did all those things first, and we couldn't find qualified candidates, then I could go to the community very easily and say, we have to change it. We can't get qualified people.
Yeah.
But we don't know that we've done all those things, and we've started early enough, expanded the geography of our search wide enough, and at that point then, because I'm not ready to say Granite City is such an undesirable community, we can't ask somebody to come and live here.
I'm not saying
And I'm not
that.
ready to say that.
I'm
And
not
so,
saying
and the
that at
reason
all.
they won't come here is that's the thinking. But I think they would come here. We have a very desirable community. But I think we have to start earlier, expand our geography. If then we can't get the qualified candidates, the point is well taken. And I wouldn't even argue, I'd say, let's drop the residency.
Yeah, one clarification, that's not, like, I've been very vocal in support of this.
I mean, we all live here. We love our community.
But
There's nobody
my
here that doesn't.
rationale is not because our community is not good enough for it, because if it weren't, I wouldn't live here. I wouldn't have chosen to return. My rationale is that we do well to expand and to deepen our pool, to make sure that we're finding the very best. I don't even know if this is appropriate or not, but how many people applied for the COVID position? How many was left standing? We lucked out that Steve Mathis was our guy.
And I don't know
wanted
how
anyway.
long we started the search, and how early we
Yeah.
started the search, and how wide we made it.
Yeah.
So
And
if
I'm
we
fine
did
with
those
that, but-
things,
You can.
it would be
you can
very
ex-
easy for me
Yeah.
to say we
You
can't
can
get
expand
anybody.
it
But to
around
what
the
end?
world,
Like, to
if
what
you're
end?
not recruiting the correct way and starting early and everything else, you're still gonna lose out on candidates because they're going to be accepting other jobs and everything else because we wait too late.
Yeah, we have to do it
that's-
earlier.
That's the biggest objection I have to this, because I'm fine with waiting, but we go through all of that. How many retirements do we have coming up for the following year? There's some major positions that need to be filled
After
for
next school year,
2022,
there will be.
2023. And I don't want us to be looking in January, like, oh, okay, well, now we should,
Now we'll start, yeah.
now we'll start, because we would have done a search by then. I understand having that, but there has to be some kind of middle ground for that, because I don't want to put us in a bind where then, I mean, that's my whole reason for pushing this. Is so we can.
One of the things that we've talked about is the recruitment situation. We need to have active, aggressive recruitment. And that's part of that month, those months that we're talking about. Let's see what happens when we start getting active recruitment.
Yeah, and I,
Well, nothing says you can't start recruiting right
Yeah,
now.
and
I mean,
Today-
really, we should, honestly.
Today, regardless of
start
whether there's
now,
a
and we-
residency or not a residency, you can start
Yeah.
recruiting today.
and if we start now and we do expand that geographical search and we pinpoint people who are in areas that don't make 6 figures as an administrator or close to it, you know, it varies, but we all know what they make. Then it's an easy, you know, a lot of people move every day to go work somewhere else, you know, across the country. Now, they may not have such a defined place they have to live, but they'll cross the country to move. And I know it's not pleasant to uproot your family and move into another community, but if you go after an administrator in another community, in another state that's making 60, 65 grand a year, say, hey, if you come to us, you might make 40 grand more. That could change some ideas, and I don't think we've done that.
I think it could, but my concern with that too is then rarely do you uproot your family for one job. Like, do you only apply for one job? So they're going to look in the area as well.
Right.
And then when you have, we're offering, you know, we have a position, but then 5, 6, 7 others around us also do it, and they don't have a residency requirement, where's someone gonna be more inclined to apply and accept a job?
But there's also the opinion that,
Which
oh,
we're restricting
they've
ourselves.
chosen me. They've, you know, they may want to come here in that case. And if we can also push the community and get rid of the perception. We all know this community
Yeah, the
has.
perception, but my view on that, like, I fully support the mayor on that, I'm doing my part as a citizen to do that, but it is not the burden of the children of Granite City to revitalize the town.
It's not,
The
but this
children
is
of
something
Granite-
we've never even tried.
No, I'm not saying don't try it
Yeah,
either,
that's-
but what I'm
that's-
saying is we have to be thinking, we can't just push it off another 6 months. Because when we do that, we will suffer for that.
Erica, one of the things I would like to say though, when you say we're not responsible for revitalizing the community, we are not. Our responsibility is to the school district and to our children.
Thank you.
But you can't separate the community they grow up and live in from the education they're getting either. We are tied together. There is a very unique partnership.
Yeah.
They grow up in this community. And keeping this a vital, healthy community is very important.
Absolutely.
And
And I
so
will-
we can say, well, we can get those ACT scores up 1.5. That's amazing. But are we gonna shoot some initiatives to revitalize our community in the foot by telling good, high-paying people they don't have to live in our community, they can all live on the hill and just come down here and they can spend their money up there and they can be part of that community.
But they already
I
spend
don't
their
think we
money up
benefit
there.
the community our kids grow up in that way either. though.
No, I don't,
You know,
but
when-
I'm not talking about finding high-quality administrators to raise test scores. I'm talking about finding people that can be assets to our community without living in our community. Trauma-informed instructors, people that have experience teaching children of a wide diversity of backgrounds, both learning, racial, ethnic, religious.
So far, we have amazing people on all our staff. We have wonderful administrators, we have wonderful principals. So if we start earlier, expand our search, and we can still get the people, is there any reason to really say, you don't need to be part of our community and live here? I only see that if we
No, if we
can't
hire, but-
get the people, and we've tried that,
Yeah.
then I could go right to the community and say, we don't have a choice. Whether you like it or not, we don't have a choice. We have to
Right.
get the best for our kids.
Yeah, I'm on board with that, but I'm not on board with putting next year off.
So this
So
is
how,
a-
where's the middle ground, I guess, is what
This
I'm
is a
asking.
great,
I
I'm
don't know
gonna
what
tell
it
you,
is.
we talked about recruitment, right? I'm gonna tell you that I am a person who was recruited by one guy in our department, right? I didn't apply anywhere else. Had he not recruited me, I would still be a Cahokia policeman, living in Cahokia. You know, I came here, uprooted my family, pulled my kids out of school and everything else, and brought them here. So I think recruitment can make a difference in how we recruit. I mean, I know I'm not a teacher coming here, right? But as a policeman, that's what happened to me.
And you went through the same kind of thing. I mean, it was uprooting your family to
Yeah,
live here.
I
so
uprooted my
you're not a
family
teacher.
and came here, you know? So, I mean, recruitment, and that was all because of one guy that sent me something saying, hey, we're about to take applications. And I by no means I wasn't even looking to go anywhere.
Yeah.
And thankfully, you know, he did that because it was like a 6-month process. I mean, becoming a policeman is not like becoming a teacher, getting hired as a teacher. I mean, it's a months-long process. So I think the right recruitment can make a difference too. That's the reason I think we need to wait and give and try. It's something that we're not trying right now.
See,
Tell them I cut you off, I'm sorry.
No,
I know I did, I didn't.
I mean, I think it's worth seeing if it works. If it doesn't work, okay. But we haven't seen.
I'm in favor of that, but where do we say, when do we make the determination it didn't work?
That's right.
That's my question.
I think for me, I mean, a lot of this stuff isn't mutually exclusive. If we're looking at our hiring policy as a whole, residency should be a part of that. So yeah, we should start earlier. We should find different ways to recruit. But maybe as part of that package is also taking a look at the residency. I think even if we did, which we should do, and we can do better as far as recruiting and widening our applicant pool, if we still have the residency requirement, I still think we're going to be limiting ourselves from applicants regardless of what we do, because there's going to be people who are qualified that just for whatever reason, and we don't have to take offense to it necessarily, but maybe they don't want to move their family at that stage, but they'd still be a good person for the job. So I think that, you know, if we're going to look at all of our hiring policies, residency should be a part of that. And so I think we could try it, and, you know, maybe it would change the world and we would, find a ton of applicants, but I think we need to do it all together and look at it, and part of that is residency. And, Bill mentioned the mayor's plan is, and, I think the mayor himself would tell you that's not gonna be a 4 or 5 month thing, this is a long-term project that,
Yes.
that I believe in, that the community believes in, but it's not gonna be something that happens, so if we're taking that into account, we might be looking at pushing this off for 2 to 3 years, and I don't know if I'm willing to do that.
No.
I wanted to ask, Stephanie and maybe even Jim, let's say we have an opening at the end of next school year. Ideally, when do we wanna start that hiring process? Like,
At the beginning of second semester, and so for everybody's information, we post, all teachers and administrators are aware of the Illinois State Job Bank. I would say 95% plus people look on those, and school websites continually if they're looking for positions. The IPA sponsors one too. All administrators and educators know about those sites. We publish on those, as we can start as early as December or January. I think that's a great time to start looking at that. But those are out there. We do that all the time. Those are posted. We could maybe extend our posting times. I do think that would be something I would like to see. We did LinkedIn for another position. I think there's Monster, there's a lot of other sites, but most educators, I think anybody would agree that those are the majority of the sites that they go to for positions.
Do we do like college job
Yeah.
fairs and stuff like that?
We, up until I got here with COVID, so I did one recently, online with SIU and I did an online one with UMSL. But there haven't been the availability. I don't know if they've done them prior to this. Jim, do you know if they've done any of those prior to this?
Yes, we did do job fairs previously. One of the situations, and Dennis touched on a little bit in the policy meeting, one of the situations we ran into with job fairs was we were competing with districts that were able to offer people positions, either contingent or upon ratification from their Board of Education. So the good candidates, they stick out in these job fairs.
It happens. in
They
job
do
fairs.
provide interviewing rooms, and there were districts there that would interview and offer people positions.
I ran the job fair for SIU because I was in teaching and learning 2 years ago. And that is exactly right. There are people, whether they're supposed to or not, Mr. Schooling, they would at least initially offer positions. They would interview, they would ask for rooms, or they would do it just right behind where their table was. There's definitely people who recruiting. We have private schools recruiting at those too. They're allowed to come in, but we haven't always been a part of those things. But I am avid about making sure we have people at those job fairs.
Is there, Mr. Schooley, you'll be able to answer this. Is there anything that stops us from doing a job fair and interviewing people there?
That's why I want to
Maybe
change.
you can't say you're gonna be hired, but if you did
I take the people
the
with me
tier,
that need-
like the tier one,
or the whole tier.
or what have you, to the
Take
job
the
fair,
room.
and
I think you can do that.
Yes.
you just can't promise, you cannot promise a job.
That's what I suggested
Or
is having a
have to
team.
sign anything.
And I don't know
Right.
if I would want that either, because I think we need to properly vet people, like, I mean,
You
because
can't do it.
they give
That's
a great
like a-
interview doesn't mean that they're gonna be a good fit in a building.
Right.
Well, and
Well,
I,
we hire
once
people
again,
at
I
the
don't think
library
you're
based.
That's a
saying,
great
yes,
point.
you're gonna be hired, but,
Yeah, we hire at the library based on contingent upon background check,
Sure.
drug test, and a health and fitness test.
Well, right, that, but I'm saying like the other part, like where
Much
they
like
could meet some
the police
teachers,
force.
like
Yeah.
a building administrator should
Teaching
have
a
an
lesson?
interview and meet with teachers, or teachers should be teaching lessons and.
All right, I'm gonna rein it back in. I think this is a very, very healthy discussion. We do have, I guess, a couple things I'm hearing. One is probably no later than December, January timeframe, we ought to be hiring. I think I'm hearing also, can we start a little bit earlier, back to September timeframe and start this process? But we do have a motion and a second on the floor for postponing this discussion, or postponing
Maybe to September?
I think it can
we
be
don't actually
indefinite,
give a
right?
date,
Yeah.
right?
No, it just.
We don't have to
just
put a
an
date on it.
indefinite
It doesn't have to be a
Until the
date.
board takes it up.
Yeah.
And we can ask Stephanie aside then, just to go ahead and mark it on the calendar for the September board meeting, that we would take this back up again at that time.
Well, she could report back what kind of success she's having then.
Absolutely.
Based on.
So the other was, is there the opportunity for Mr. Parker to start earlier in the
Yes.
process now, to see what there is in that process for trying to fill some of those expected vacancies at the end of next school year?
So what's the actual motion say?
The motion is to suspend this.
So the board picks it up
The
again,
board picks it up again.
and we'll take recommendations from the superintendent from her efforts. We need to pick this up again, or maybe
Yeah,
not, but
yeah.
I think that's why we have her. She can give us an honest, open evaluation of this is not working, or we're doing okay.
Yeah.
And the second was by Eric, I believe.
Who was the first? Bill?
Bill. And a very good discussion.
Thank you.
Yes, roll call, please, Zach.
Kern?
Aye.
None, aye. McMasters?
Aye.
Stacy?
Aye.
Vinnie?
No.
Kanogle?
I'd like to say no, I'm sorry.
Wilmsmeyer?
Aye. All right,
Passes.
we will, pass it 6-2.
5-2.
I had to vote just to clarify, I had to vote my conscience on that, but I fully support what we're doing now, because I know it passes regardless of my vote.
Very good. All right, next order of business, item number 10, new business. Item A, Microsoft license renewal.
Mr. President of the Board, authorization is requested to renew the Microsoft license for the 21-22 school year with Acropolis. This contract includes Microsoft Windows operating systems, Microsoft Server, Microsoft Office, SQL, and Microsoft SharePoint. The software is used by all staff members. This is also used on all servers for all processes, including but not limited to items such as payroll, phones, Skyward, HVAC controls, human resources, and staff and student network access. The support agreement is being budgeted for the 21-22 school year at a cost of $52,378.58, and approval is recommended.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Erica, second by, it's getting Bill. Talon? Okay, Talon. Any discussion?
Doesn't Microsoft have enough money already?
Yeah, really. Gonna have the market.
Maybe.
This
Roll
is
call,
standard
please.
purchase, right?
None,
Yes.
aye.
Yes.
McMasters?
Aye.
Stacy?
Aye.
Vinnie?
Aye.
Kanogle?
Aye?
Kern?
Aye.
Wilmsmeyer?
Aye. Item 10B, finance personnel system renewal upgrade.
Mr. President of the Board, authorization is requested to renew this agreement for the 21-22 school year with Tyler Technologies for the Infinite Visions Finance Personnel System. As with many of our software packages, an annual support agreement is required for all updates, including state mandated changes and technical support. With this renewal, we are migrating to a hosted solution. The renewal has been budgeted for the 21-22 school year at a cost of $96,104. Approval is recommended. This is actually what runs all of our personnel.
Second.
Motion by Bill, second by Eric. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
McMasters?
Aye.
Stacy?
Aye.
Vinnie?
Aye.
Kanogle?
Aye?
Kern?
Aye.
None, aye. Wilmsmeyer?
Aye. Item 10C, designation of depositories.
Yes, Mr. President, the board attaches a resolution designating depositories for the Granite City School District. This resolution should be filed each year so the district's administration may deposit and or invest district funds with and through a variety of institutions to obtain the highest monetary return on all district investments, consistent with investments authorized by law. It is recommended that the board adopt the resolutions authorizing the investment of district funds and Region 1 funds as presented and authorize the necessary signatures.
So moved.
Second?
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Stacy?
Aye.
Vinnie?
Aye.
Kanogle?
Aye?
Kern?
Aye.
None, aye. McMasters?
Aye.
Wilmsmeyer?
Aye. Item 10D and item E is actually a kind of an exhibit to this with the lease, actually the amendment to the agreement. But item 10D is a resolution authorizing the amendment to the lease of real estate known as the high school baseball diamond pursuant to Chapter 105, ILCS 510-2211.
So do you wanna, you wanna speak to this?
Should
Mr.
we
Stoll?
explain what this
Please.
is?
Yes.
Thank you.
Briefly, back in 2011, the district was approached by AT&T with regard to placement of a cell tower, and the ideal location was at the baseball field, and if we all have been by the baseball field, third base light pole is the cell tower. And that, the school code allows for the lease to go out only 25 years, it cannot be past that. In 2011, we entered a lease with AT&T for 25 years, an initial 10-year lease term was on that lease, and AT&T paid the initial 10-year lease payment in one payment of $84,000. With that, the Board of Education decided to replace all the old wooden posts that house the lights for the baseball field because they were becoming worn, and we had the safety inspector say there were an issue of having those breaks, so the board approved that. That lease also contained 3 5-year extensions. Since that time, well, now the 10-year lease and the initial term is expiring September of this year. That AT&T lease was sold to Octagon Towers, which is now known as Barracuda LLC. They have approached us about putting in an additional 10-year term, and we basically have 5-year extensions on the original term. In the original lease, these lease extensions have a set amount, like $970 per month, or a little over $11,000, and that amount increases 3% each year. So what this resolution is extending the lease back to 25 years for the new leaseholder under the same terms and conditions of the old one, with the 3% increasing over the 25 years. So Dennis, I did figure out, and I was a little short, but over the next 25 years, that will pay on about $415,000. And one of the things Dennis asked me about, and I'm glad that he did, is are we getting our bang for our buck with regard to the current market rate for cell tower leases? And back then at the time, it was, in my opinion, because we negotiated fairly aggressively with AT&T. However, we are locked into that original 2010 agreement. So, but what this one does is basically gives the back end 10-year, 2 5-year extensions on the term to give them 25 years again, but under the same terms and conditions of the 2010 original lease. If there's any questions, I'll field those.
So the extension of the 10 years, I know it's hard to tell who's talking because we have these minutes. Anyway, the extension is, you're saying that's still a good deal for us?
Yeah.
In today's market?
Yeah, I mean, we are, we tried, and Stephanie and I, when we were first approached, we tried to go out 25 years and get all these payments, 400 and some odd thousand, up in what's known as present cash value. And Mr. Gruber, who was the agent for Octagon Tower, says, no, I only have authority to go out and keep the existing lease terms in there. If not, we will just exercise the 3 5-year terms under the original lease. So
Okay.
that's our choice. We either keep the current terms at 3% each year, or we let them do run out the 3 5-year terms and go to the market 15 years from now. But I think in the last year 25, they're paying between $25,000 and $26,000 a year for that lease.
Okay.
And again, the area that's being leased in Dennis, it's not a big area. I mean, it's probably, the area that Mr. Mitchell's sitting in, probably double that size.
Yeah.
As we all have been by, there's a fence around
Yeah.
it. That is the leased premises.
Okay, thank you. I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Second by Bill. Tom, thank you for the discussion there and the introduction to that. So motion and a second. Any more discussion? Roll call?
Vinnie,
Aye.
Knoble,
Aye.
Kern,
Aye.
Nunn, I, McMasters,
Aye.
Stacy,
Aye.
Wilmsbach.
Aye.
And Dennis, one other item, the board does have to sign this particular resolution, and the reason why, Dennis, it came to me, these leases such as this do get recorded at the recorder of deeds, either in the
Okay.
form of the original release or a memorandum of release, and that's why the board has to sign.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you, Tom. Appreciate that. So please do not leave tonight before you sign this document.
Okay.
Otherwise, we'll have to hunt you down, so.
See here?
Item E again was an exhibit to item D, so no action there. Item 10F, resolution of property tax appeal board. Tom, you wanna talk about
Yeah,
that again?
again, this is another warehouse that the Granite City Community Unit School District jurisdiction shares with the Edwardsville School District as well as the city of Edwardsville to intervene at the Property Tax Appeal Board. We do have our appraisal coming in this week, which will apply to this, so it's just a formality of me being able to talk with the Property Tax Appeal Board and get involved with that one.
Alright. So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? And I would like to say thank you, Tom, for the other ones that you've been intervening in, because I think you've done a great job on
Save
those.
us
So,
the
Appreciate
money.
that.
thank you so much. Roll call, please.
Kern.
Aye.
Nunn, I. McMasters. Stacy.
Aye.
Vinnie.
Aye.
Knogle.
Aye.
Wilmsmeyer.
Aye. Item 10G, Thespian Club.
Mr. President of the Board, we are looking to reinstate the Thespian Club at GCHS. It was a part of our GCHS extracurricular for years. I'm not sure, I asked Mr. Depew today, but didn't hear back about when they stopped meeting. But I know that it was in effect, I know through the 80s and the 90s. We had someone there that was interested, the students were very interested. We had, I think, almost 20 students involved. The Thespian Club honors those students who excel in theater and drama. It can be all forms of theater and drama. It doesn't have to mean they're in a play. It can mean they're part of a children's acting or any type of theater or TV production or anything that they do. The club sponsor is a voluntary position for 3 years. So we have a large amount of student interest in this, so approval is recommended.
So moved.
Second.
That didn't take long. Granddaughter jumped over there.
As part of discussion, I just wanna say, like, I went to the production that they had, and I just adored it,
It
and
was so good.
not only that, they started, I mean, maybe it was a little presumptuous of them, but they were already inducting members into their group, and it was just an
Great.
honor to hear the dedication and commitment that the children had. Children, they're teenagers now, but I still call them children. So I think this is fantastic.
And
I think we-
Melissa Kimball and Amy Pennell, the time and dedication that they put in with these kids and with these productions this year, we are really incredibly fortunate to have them in this community.
And for me personally, as a citizen, it just felt really great to be back in an audience and
It was
watching
great.
this production.
It was great, wasn't it? They did a wonderful job.
Been a long time.
They truly did.
Very good. Any other discussion? And we appreciate the volunteer efforts there as well. That's fantastic. We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please, Zach.
Nunn, I. McMasters.
Aye.
Stacy.
Aye.
Vinnie.
Aye.
Knogle.
Aye.
Kern.
Aye.
Wilmsmeyer.
Aye. Item 10H, trust agreement with UC Bank.
Zach, Mr. Shurry, are you there? Would you like to address this? Mr. Shurry?
Yeah, this is just simply because we cannot hold it. This is money that has been spent already. It's the paychecks. It just we take it off our books, put it in a separate account. Busey Bank transfers it into the payroll account on each payday.
Yep. Okay, so,
So moved.
approval is recommended.
I have a motion.
It has been standard operating procedure since I have been in the job and before.
Okay.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Shurry.
Yeah, and it's an annual thing.
Yes, it is.
Zach, is that correct?
We do it every
Required
year.
by the
Yes,
school code.
it's annual. Yes.
I do have a motion and a second. Did you do that one?
Yep.
Okay, very good. Roll call, please.
McMasters.
Aye.
Stacy.
Aye.
Vinnie.
Aye.
Knogle.
Aye.
Kern.
Aye.
Nunn, I. Wilmsmeyer.
Aye. Item 10I, we got a lot of items on it.
I know.
You're
gonna run out of
Yeah.
letters.
A lot of good stuff happening.
Okay, new high school beginning audio visual production CTE course. Ms. Campbell.
Yes, Mr. President of the Board, the beginning audiovisual production course provides students with the basic knowledge and skills necessary for television, video, film, or radio production. It includes also camera operation, use of graphics, visuals, lighting, audio techniques, editing, production principles, and career opportunities that are typically topics covered within this course. Moving additional course, we're asking to be added to the fine arts curriculum. We need this particular course. We have a huge amount of interest in it, first of all, but also, I know that Ms. Petrola is here too, and trying to fill positions that students want to be a part of and want to be a part of those electives. And we've had to reduce class sizes in some of the other areas that were sort of absorbent in nature. So we're really looking forward to adding this and being able to offer it with the CTE position as well. So approval is strongly recommended.
So moving, I tell you, it's such forward thinking of our superintendent to bring these kind of programs for kids. I'm just thrilled.
Second.
Right.
And for a little bit of conversation too, I think it's a big deal because my bachelor's degree is in mass comm, radio, and TV,
Oh.
radio, TV, film. And a lot of this stuff, even if you don't go into those industries now, video production and audio production and all that, like people think, oh, radio. Well, yeah, that's podcasting.
Right.
You know, I
That's
mean, it's all
right.
the same
That's
thing. It
right.
all
And
feeds
that's
into,
part of
and,
this.
you know, there's so many jobs now that require some level of video editing or whatever.
TikToking.
Yeah.
Right.
Like millions on TikTok.
Just had the 180.
The podcasting, actually, I'm glad you said that, that's actually something that we were wanting to put as a part of that. I think that would be really interesting for kids, maybe even to do one with that class.
Yeah.
I thought, I talked to some people about that, I think that that would be an amazing opportunity for us to give the students a voice through that as well.
Yeah.
We do have a motion and a second, is that correct? Roll call?
Stacy.
Aye.
Vinny.
Aye.
Knogle.
Aye.
Kern.
Aye.
None. Aye. McMaster.
Aye.
Wilmsmeyer.
Aye. All right, item 11A, Freedom of Information Act requests.
Mr. President of the Board, we've received one request under the Freedom of Information Act during the period of June 2nd, 21 through June 15th, 21. June 2nd, 21, Zoe Yelson, Data Acquisition Specialist at Smart Procure, requested the following information. Any and all purchasing records from 2/1/21 to current. The request was handled by the administration.
Information. And item 11B.
Mr. President of the Board, the Division of Rehabilitative Services Summer Pathway Initiative is something the state of Illinois is doing in response to COVID. What I'd like to do is have our Special Ed Executive Director, Mickey Watkins, give a little brief explanation of this. So she's right here.
Can I just stay here?
Yes, you can stand up.
Hi, thank you for having me tonight. So the Granite City School District has been a longtime participant in the STEP program, which is the Secondary Transition Experience Program. That serves students with disabilities with regard to obtaining employability skills, as well as connecting them with agencies to help them along after graduation. The Division of Rehab Services provides the funding for us to provide those services. With last year being a COVID year, these services didn't quite look the same as what they normally would have. And DRS recognized this and has offered an opportunity for us to obtain additional funds to be able to provide additional services for our students this summer. So we're just trying to bridge the gap between last school year and the start of this school year by supporting these students additionally with these services. So these students will be coming to school or participating virtually, depending on their preference. And they are going to participate in activities in the areas of job exploration and counseling, work-based learning experiences, counseling on post-secondary education, workplace readiness training, and instruction in self-advocacy. Our current STEP coordinator, Kelly Hutchings, has applied for and obtained these additional funds to provide those services. And while this offer was made to all of the districts in the state of Illinois who participate in the STEP program, I am very proud to say that the Granite City School District is the only school district in Madison County to have applied for and received these funds to provide these services for our students.
And Kelly was a big part of that.
Kelly Hutchings was a huge instrumental part in that.
That's fantastic. We
Yes.
so appreciate her efforts and your efforts in this, because it really, the STEP program is wonderful transition in the program for kids. So we're really lucky to be able to offer that to our students and to have such proactive people on staff.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
We just wanted to report on that, we're very
Appreciate
excited.
that. Yeah, that's great, great.
That is great.
All right, item 11C, May 21, activity account report, there for information. Item D is the May 2021 GCHS activity fund statement. If there's questions on any of these, please let me know. Item 11E is the May 2021 GCHS bank reconciliation statement. Item F is the May 2021 GCHS memorial funds. Any questions on any of those? And I will say, Linda and I've talked with Zach in the past. I think going forward, we wanna kind of start taking a look at some of that and see if we can't do some consolidation. There's just
Exactly.
a lot of work out there for the staff in order to keep all of those accounts separate, so.
Yeah.
I think
We have
that's-
some alternative ideas
Right.
that we would like to bring to the board.
Absolutely. All right, item 11G, Linda, you have,
Yeah, I had, with all the discussion that we've had regarding the administration, complexity, and what we are talking about in terms of getting the best and the brightest in terms of our principals and administrators, I didn't want to lose the fact that we have some really outstanding teachers, and this is kind of a recognition of them, but also my own personal experience as a former teacher. I wanted to first recognize our classroom teachers for the work that they do every day. Those who studied to become teachers during my college years believed that we could make a positive difference in the lives of children, that we could inspire and motivate students to achieve in school, and that view hasn't changed today. There are just many more serious challenges than in my earlier years of teaching. Many of us had a teacher or teachers that changed our lives. They believed in us. They showed us that they valued us in the classroom. And for me, that was my English literature teacher in high school, who wanted us to give our opinion of the characters and the historical setting and the contrasting the similarity and differences between the era we were reading about and the present that we lived in at that time. He challenged us to think more deeply. He always acknowledged our reasoning, even if it differed from popular critics of poetry or literature. He never criticized, but rather led us through a process of examining our thoughts and our arguments. He made the characters in these novels real, and the classroom was exciting for me. He encouraged me one day to enter a writing contest, and I won an ink pen. But most importantly, raising my hand to answer questions in an English literature class every day was a major turning point for someone as shy as I was in those days. Suddenly, I became a new me, someone I didn't recognize and who I really liked. I enjoyed poetry and the classics. I loved the class, and I always came prepared. I often thought that he must have had a teacher who inspired him as well. Not all of this narrative resonates with possibly everyone, but I think most will agree that this profession is demanding, all-consuming, and for the most of us, definitely fulfilling. But there are challenges every day. Many children come to school unprepared for the structure of a classroom. High mobility rates among families make it difficult for some students to retain what they've learned from school to school. And they have difficulty making and keeping friends. Without school friends, many students feel like outsiders and become sad and often depressed. Teachers who have a love for teaching and have developed proven skills in the classroom over a number of years, who have learned successful engagement with parents, may decide to move on to administration. The majority, however, seem to choose, as my board member friend Erica mentioned last meeting, may choose to stay at the first point of contact, the classroom. The majority seem to do that first. Having shown that they qualify to be highly successful instructional leaders, a teacher should be encouraged to apply. And if a student is fortunate enough to be in that building, to have that teacher who has the support and encouragement of a proven instructional leader, then that student may choose education as their calling, as I did. Imagine a school district that grows their own teachers because they had classroom experiences that were meaningful and lasting. Thank you.
Linda, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. And it definitely isn't the same in the classroom today as it was
Yeah.
when we were.
But, you know, yeah, there are still, people don't realize how important it is, that teacher and the effect that that person has on children, and how it can change their life, be a special place for them to go, and in my situation, changed how I participated in the classroom. And I think classroom participation is absolutely essential, and we're hoping to see more of that when our kids get back in August.
That teacher inspiration is more important today than ever.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, yes, absolutely, and I wanna say that our teachers have really worked extremely hard. I couldn't say more. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it, Linda, thank you so much. Very nice. Item 12, executive session. We do not have executive session scheduled for tonight. Item 13 is executive session minutes from the June 8th, 2021 meeting. And has everybody had a chance to look at those? Nodding, yes?
Yes.
Okay, very good.
They just need to be approved.
Yes, they need to
So
be.
moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call, please, Zach.
Kern,
Aye.
Nunn, I, McMasters,
Aye.
Stacy,
Aye.
Vinnie,
Aye.
Knoble,
Aye.
Wonsmeyer.
Aye. And item 14 is setting the agenda, actually for our next school board meeting, but also we're going to be holding a special board meeting in advance of that regularly scheduled meeting. Can we, anybody want to throw out some dates? Check calendars for the special board meeting,
We
yes.
just put it on that other Tuesday.
Is everybody prepared to do that
I
tonight?
could even do the 30th.
I'm good every day.
I've got the
Is
30th.
this
You
for
are
the
good every
hiring?
day, though.
I will be
Is
gone.
this-
Straight every day.
Is this for the hiring?
This is-
Yes, I will be gone from the 5th through the 9th. I'm actually gonna
Tom's
attempt to
taking
go.
it.
We need to make
I'm
sure
good for
Parker
the
can
30th.
ever have everybody ready,
I'm
I'm
not.
assuming.
Okay, the 1st,
I mean,
maybe? Okay.
What are we trying, like,
We're trying to
costume?
Parker can tuck that up tonight. It'd be all
I
right.
can try to, just get a hold of everybody, just, I'm looking at,
We could send you all our open dates, and
Just do
then
it.
you could look at that and figure
yeah,
out
but I
what
would
would be
love
it.
to try to get somewhere between if we can't do, the 28th through the
You take-
2nd, then we're looking at the week of the 12th.
Did you say the 28th?
Well, I mean,
I
yeah,
can do the 28th, the 29th, and the 2nd.
I'll be out of town all
29th?
of next week.
Okay.
And I learned from my open meeting training,
Yes.
that you have to be like physically incapacitated, like you can't be on vacation.
I know.
Zoom in.
I'll be happy to Zoom.
I learned that because I was
You're-
certified.
Good job, good job.
Well, what if we just,
We could
is
totally have a
the
Zoom
13th
meeting.
too late? Cause that would be like,
That would be our,
the regular Tuesday that we would have, you know, like.
Yeah, is that good?
What date?
Be the 13th.
July 13th.
13th.
July 13th, yep.
Everybody good?
Happen to be free that whole day.
We can have a Zoom meeting if it's easier too, that's okay, in Open Meetings Act as well. Check, so if we need to do that, just let me know.
I'm available all day too. Not as
13th
available
for everybody.
as Bill, but
Yes.
Everybody good 13th?
28th and
Okay.
the 2nd, they're fine with me.
What was the time?
If it's Zoom, I can do any of those, I just didn't know if I could.
Well, at
specifically
least
Zoom.
13 gives us time to make sure we've got the, assistant principal position, meeting in the bag as well.
Yep, yep, gives you a little extra
Mhm.
time.
Yep.
Do we want to set a time for that evening?
6?
are they 6 o'clock? They would be 6 o'clock.
We'll be at 6 o'clock normally now
Yeah.
on board meetings. so.
Yep.
So I think 6 o'clock.
Sounds
Okay.
great.
You got that, Mary?
All good.
July
Very good.
13th.
And
Okay,
that will
great.
be, that will be that evening, the agenda for that night will be interviews.
I will say that, like Eric spoke, this is an unusual situation. We would normally not have this many hires. With COVID and with grant money, those were things that had to be,
Yeah.
it was a different, and then we voted negotiations to add some positions, so, that, there, normally this would, we would have had these filled much before now. I know Mr. Parker always posts them way early in the semester, for the purpose, Mr. Parker, if I'm correct, of trying to get teachers early before they've made commitments at other school districts, correct?
Yeah.
I don't think we heard.
That's correct. We usually start in December, trying to get the December grants locked in, as well as those that will be graduating in spring before they start taking other jobs.
Just so everybody knew, that is generally our, the way we handle things, but I didn't know.
The other agenda item for that night then would also be the resident, or no, excuse me, not residency
The
policy,
interview
hiring,
policy.
interview and hiring policy. Thank you, sorry for the faux pas
Dennis,
there.
you got me excited.
Man, I
Look at
just-
there, 'cause I got-
Yeah, wow, with that on the agenda.
Right back.
Okay.
Policy.
And then, I think that's got that locked up, so good, everybody good for that, be the 13th at 6 o'clock, and then the regular meeting will be the 27th, anything for that agenda? I don't
What time do you want the policy meeting that night?
Oh, yeah, we can do it 5:30.
5:30 would be good,
Okay.
All right.
Thank you for asking that, John.
yep, good reminder. All right, nothing yet for the agenda for the 27th.
I'm trying to get the pen.
With that, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay.
All in favor? Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Very good, thank you all so much.
Thank you.